parts of these various channels that profit directly off of creating this drama, making sure it gets as much attention as possible, driving the point home, polarizing you, and then using you as a weapon in order to drag somebody else down. What I do know is none of that crap is welcome here in this community. What's up, motivators? Welcome back. It's Kevin. This is Pure Bullfit. Now, first off, apologize. Haven't uploaded any videos in the last week or two. Nothing's happened. It's mainly been I've been starting Twitch and I've been enjoying it a lot, and I'd love to create some content there and then put it here, but that live interaction where I get to actually discuss topics with people, it's really fun. I'm really enjoying it. And quite frankly, if I'm going to be producing a consistent amount of content, I've got to enjoy actually making some of it. And I love getting the information out to you folks. I love giving you actionable information so that you can live a longer, better quality life. But sometimes it gets boring to just talk at a camera and pretend that, I'm having a discussion with somebody. I'd rather actually have a discussion. So if you feel like following me over on Twitch, please do. We're looking to have a lot of fun over there, and I really want to involve you guys in the conversation, much in the same way that John from Obese to Beast, who I got the idea from and gave me his blessing to steal his style, the way that he does a lot of his videos now. So on that, we're going to move on to what we're talking about today. I'm going to try and keep this relatively short because my contributions to the conversation aren't that complicated. I want to talk just a little bit about that whole scandal in the supplement industry, not because I have new information, but perhaps some perspective and some information that was readily available to everyone that I'm kind of disturbed not enough people are talking about. We got toxic, yo. Inappropriately toxic. There are people in the comment section saying things that they have absolutely no business saying off of precious little information. Why? Because it's fun, it's popular, and too many people are willing to dehumanize individuals that are public figures because they can feel they can say whatever they want to them without consequence. And thankfully, the people in this community are better than that. And hopefully we can live, lead by example, and we can show folks this ain't the way.
This is the way.
No, it's not the way.
This is the way.
I love the show. It's not the way.
I have spoken.
So many people have talked about this subject, filling you in on the situation. It has to do with underdosed or even not evenly dosed turkesterone products, primarily the named organizations, the big names anyways, Gorilla Minds, Derek More Plates More Dates, and Greg Doucette from Harder Than Last Time Supplements. Now, I, in full transparency, did a 60-day project, a review of turkesterone, or Turk Builder specifically. Stand by every single word I said in that. None of this changes anything, and after you see the points that I'm concerned about, you'll probably understand why. The other thing is I got to address my bias. I really like Derek, flat out. I've never talked to him. I don't think he knows who I am. We do have the same interior decorator, it seems. So that's bonus points for me. But I have talked to Greg, and I've had an evolving opinion of him over the years. I initially did not like him at all.
No, sir, I don't like it.
My opinion's kind of softened as the direction of his content has changed, as he's steered away from basically doing how-to guides on SARMs and PEDs to dissuading people from doing it, having a much more measured approach, actively giving people advice on healthy goals and things like that. And he is somebody that I have talked with. We have exchanged ideas and names. This is a guy who recently I had actually quite lengthy conversations with, and I feel like I've gotten to know him better. While I still have reservations about some of the things he says, in particular some of the ways that he says it, he's much more human to me. So bias established. And that's kind of the point that I want to get to with what I talk about today. There are so many contextual and nuanced reasons why we should be striving to view content creators, remind ourselves that they're human, because they always were. And we got to step away from these behaviors where we allow ourselves to say truly awful things because we think of them as objects. We think of content creators as furniture, and it makes it really easy to say some pretty terrible things that I promise you, not even for fear of what would happen to you, you would never say in person. And there's lots of reasons that already exist in this conversation that if you left one of those comments, you should have considered. You should have thought about it. So I'm not going to get into all the data. I'm not here to defend the products either way. I did that 60-day project. I am no longer taking Turk Builder. I stopped after the project. I want to see more legitimate, verifiable, repeatable, research before I continue to, over the long term, put something into my body. I've got a little bit of a different opinion on it from Derek, but I respect the information that he puts out, and he's kind of like the golden boy of YouTube. Almost nobody dislikes Derek. And that tells you something about just how ridiculously toxic and mob-like our mentalities can be. You see, you take this guy who has a reputation for transparency, straightforward, does not do drama, does some relatively entertaining, but mostly informative content. And when this guy on Reddit, of all places, from a competing company in nootropics, I've heard your counter argument to that, we'll get to it. A competing company made claims about the contents of their products. People took that as liberty to say absolutely terrible things, cast aspersions on his character, call him shady, say they knew he was spiking his products the entire time, that he was a liar the whole time. None of that was called for. And I really feel like you guys didn't take into account some of the really basic nuance. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about that context. Now, some folks would say, well, no, yep, he has a lab of his own and he may make supplements, but he doesn't make turkesterone. Carefully read that initial post, because if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, if I remember correctly, he said that he's not calling into question the efficacy or the effectiveness of the product, just its contents, and later determined that what was actually in the bottle was beta-ecdysterone. That is a supplement that this guy's selling. So to me, that much more reads, and this is just basic context, a reason to stop, cool your jets, and maybe think for a second before you post something nasty. That's kind of like Ford Motor Company saying, Dodge trucks do not get the gas mileage that they say they do. We bought a bunch of Dodge trucks and tested them in our facility, and they get 111% less gas mileage than Dodge tells you they do. And then they took that information and they posted it on Facebook. Why Reddit? Why isn't your name attached to it? Why the weak claim that there's no bias or agenda because you don't sell a turkesterone product, when your testing identified it as beta-ecdysterone, and you do sell that product. Now, what he said may be entirely true. I don't know. I don't know the guy. I'm not casting aspersions on him, his integrity, or his business. I don't know anything about him. But what I do know from the context is that I should at least pause and question before writing something absolutely terrible about what started as Derek. Now, the situation changed a little bit when people said, hey, what about Harder Than Last Time supplements? And we got some information about that. And he said it too was underdosed. So that's when everything changed. When people had an easy target, and Greg Doucette is an easy target. If you're out there and you made a video about him and you didn't make one about Derek, you know you chose because he's an easy target that you're not going to catch a lot of flack for. You go after the golden boy, there's going to be some kickback. Every single video I saw talking about Derek was giving him loads of credit, saying it probably wasn't his fault, it was a supply chain thing. And then most of the videos had a completely different tone when they were talking about Greg. Now, of the two of them, who are you going to go after? I understand which would be profitable. I have, in the past, looked at Greg's content and said I could destroy this. I could drag him through the mud. I could show every place where he misspoke, made an analogy that wasn't perfect, or misreferenced a piece of data and absolutely obliterated when I was still making drama content. And I would know that just by putting his picture up, I was going to get tons and tons of views. Well, I've stepped away from making that content. I don't think it actually helps people, which is the point of this community. We want to help people, actually help people. And I've realized that the drama content was just getting in my way. Caps my views, sure. Significantly lowers my ad revenue, okay, I can accept that. But those things are worth it to maintain the integrity of this community, which is supportive and constructive. And I really think it's gotten out of hand in the rest of the community. So there was another claim made about the proof that they were kicking back against ABC Labs that verified, the contents on the label, third party for Derek for More Plates, More Dates, who uses a similar, if not the same, manufacturer and supply chain as Greg Doucette. So treating them differently, saying, oh, these guys, this guy's, just had this bad thing happen to him, but this guy is duplicitous, disingenuous, and shady. Be fair if you're going to be critical. Be fair. But ABC caught a lot of flack because they FDA letter outlining a bunch of different failures in their documentation. I've seen even people that I love their opinion and I respect what they have to say screw that up. Because wasn't it the pharmaceutical side that got this letter, which is a whole different part of the organization than the supplement side? As a matter of fact, they specifically operate under different rules they're not under the same expectations for documentation. So why would what is applicable to one, which has a much higher standard and is heavily monitored by the FDA, apply to a completely separate part of the organization? Did anybody who was criticizing that stop to think about that? Did they take it into account? Because of every video I've seen thus far, not one person mentioned that distinction. Not one. So we've got a couple of reasons to stop, pause, cool our jets, rest on our heels just a little bit before making an angry comment or like a vulture jumping on one of these guys to try and make some drama content. And you should have taken it, but too many of you didn't. One, because you don't like Greg. Two, because it's about testosterone and you disagree that it might or might not work. I say, hey, let's wait and see. Let's find out more about it. Or three, because you saw an opportunity to generate a lot of clicks, a lot of views, and you just couldn't pass up that sweet, sweet revenue. Precious few people out there, do I believe, are handling it maturely. Seek a Strength, great job. They said the testing that is claimed to have been used, which they did not independently verify, claimed to have been used, would have been appropriate testing for it. Zach Teller put a great video together. Very measured. I think one or two videos actually. Very measured, didn't draw any conclusions, acknowledged that there could be a number of reasons why this happened. But too many people, too many community members are going off the deep end. And if you're one of those people that made a threat, I don't know if you know this, but even if you do it over the internet, it's still a crime. I mean, not like your punk ass is gonna do anything. Anyway, I've had lots of threats over my time over stuff as stupid as saying that 5 reps aren't magic, or saying that keto isn't independently more effective than other diet protocols. I've had my life threatened for things that dumb and that small. So I don't have a lot of hope as it goes in regard to dealing with the various communities that are parts of these various channels that profit directly off of creating this drama, making sure it gets as much attention as possible, driving the point home, polarizing you, and then using you as a weapon in order to drag somebody else down. What I do know is none of that crap is welcome here in this community. None. You officially are not part of Pure Bullfit at all if you will bully, harass, demean, dismiss, attack somebody over a difference of opinion, particularly if you'll do it refusing to acknowledge context that should have informed your opinion to begin with. So this is coming off a little bit like a lecture, but from what I've seen, I am so disappointed in so many members of so many other communities because y'all are showing your ass right now. Yes, I know I used to make this kind of content. I learned my lesson. I've demonetized every single video where I felt like I crossed the line and I just attacked people, and I've devoted myself to attacking ideas, no longer people. I might have lots of philosophical differences with Derek. I might have lots of differences of opinion with Greg, but when I talk about where I feel like they went wrong or dropped the ball, it's going to be to talk about those ideas, not to drag their name through the mud, not to attack them, not to take cheap shots so that I can earn a few extra bucks. And I kind of understand why the people who are making the content like that do it. It's at least profitable for them. For those of you who are just doing it in the comment section, the fuck are you getting out of this? That stuff doesn't affect me, but I know for a fact that affects other content creators. I've had multiple people in my DMs talking to me directly, talking to me live, talk about how it's hit them, how it's hurt them, how it makes them feel like they don't even want to create content anymore. They're just trying to help people, this, that, or the other thing. They maybe made a mistake. Especially when all of this, probably at the end of the day, comes down to supply chain issues. Man, what kind of dirtbag, knuckle-dragging wall toucher would say awful things about another human being when it was something that was outside of their direct control that they paid other professionals to take care of? If you're one of those people, I mean this from the bottom of my heart, you're disgusting. Stop it. And you can rail about it in the comment section and drive my algorithm up if you want, but you will never be a part of this community. We do better here. You should consider it. Anyway, guys, that rant, that little lecture is the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, they got a button for that. If you didn't like it, they got a button for that too. But guess what? Right now, according to the rules, nobody will see your displeasure. Oh, you'll have to rail about it in the comment section. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I don't give a shit what you think anyway. But for the rest of you, actual members of this community, people who want to be constructive, who want to move this forward, who want to live better, longer lives, I'll see you guys in the next video. And until I do, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and go fit yourself.